Well, hey everyone, so glad you could join us. We're just going to have a conversation today, myself and John David Walt, JD Walt, as he is otherwise known. And we're going to talk about how to pray like Jesus. This is content of a course we're going to be doing coming up, but we just wanted to have a conversation, get into the heart of it, and have JD share some of his key thoughts about this topic. So why don't we just begin with why does it matter that we look into the prayer life of the Son of God?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Several years ago, I kind of had a wake-up call. I don't mean like I wrote a wake-up call, but I had a wake-up call. And, I've been on a journey, like so many people, for a long time, and trying to learn how to pray. And I've read many books about this subject, and I've, scoured the scriptures for teaching and what can we learn about prayer. And I realized how little attention that I had actually given to Jesus. When, this is the one thing his disciples come to him and ask him to teach them, right?
Yeah.
Lord, teach us to pray. And he has quite a lot of teaching on prayer. He uses all sorts of analogies and metaphors, about a servant, somebody coming to your house in the middle of the night, and a widow and an unjust judge, and then I kind of just started, peeling the onion, and I came to this realization that not only did Jesus teach us how to pray, and he's so practical. He's like, okay, when you pray, go into your room, close the door, pray to your Father who's unseen. I'm like, I just kind of thought that was a good theory until I started to try doing it, and it just completely is revolutionizing my own prayer life. But then I discovered not only does he teach a lot about prayer, but he actually prays.
It's amazing, isn't it, that we get to see
He actually prays.
Prayers of Jesus.
So he's teaching us about prayer. He's demonstrating patterns all through the Gospels. He's withdrawing. He's not just telling them go into your room. He's going to his room, closing the door and praying to his Father who's unseen. And most of my kind of prayer journey has been sort of like activism, like, well, how can I get people to pray more? How can I pray more? How can I get more people to pray more together? How can we get more prayer rooms filled with people? And it just struck me that that's really not what Jesus is trying to do, good as that may be. And so Jesus he's showing us patterns, he's teaching us sort of ways and means, but then he actually is praying. And guess what? Those prayers were written down. They wrote them down. You know how many there are?
Yeah.
I started counting them.
Yeah.
There's 9. There's 9 prayers of Jesus. They repeat in some of the Gospels. And I thought, what are the 9 prayers? And nobody really can tell you. Because, again, I think this is not native to me. This is the state of our age. The Lord's Prayer, of course. And we know that one. And yet, even the way that we have practiced the Lord's Prayer, I think is probably foreign to what he intended. This was what he said to do when you go into your room and close the door and pray to your Father who's unseen.
Yeah.
He gives us the Lord's Prayer. The only time we ever really see the Lord's Prayer prayed is, in church at the end of the pastoral prayer or at a football game at the end of the huddle.
Right.
Our Father art in heaven. It's almost the very way he said to not do it.
Yeah.
And I guess it's fine. But there are 8 more prayers that he teaches. And so I felt like, it would be good to put together a short course that just begins to highlight. This is what I'm good at, Dan, is highlighting the obvious. Okay?
It's a gift.
I'm a master of the obvious insight. Let's just track out these prayers and see what he will teach us. And so it's like, well, the course is titled How to Pray Like Jesus. But I think if you want to learn to pray like Jesus, you got to learn to pray with Jesus. And so this will be experimental. This won't just be a lecture because, you know, we both know you don't learn to pray by reading more about prayer. You don't learn to pray by taking more courses on prayer. You learn to pray by praying. Praying. And so we'll spend some time actually praying. So I'm excited about the course. I'm because you know what they say, you teach best what you need most. And I am, as the old song says, standing in the need of prayer. I need it most.